Hi guys, welcome to the business of being a virtual assistant. I'm your host, Tiffany Parson, and you're watching and listening to episode number 172. Let me just be very honest with you guys. I feel like this today. I feel like, and I don't know why. And it's okay. It's not that I am tired. I just want to chill. You ever have one of those days where you just want to chill? But I can't chill. You got to push through. You got things to do. So no chill time. And clearly, if you're sick, you need to, do some self-care. But this is not about being sick or anything like that. This is about pressing through when you're like, I don't want to do it. Got to do it anyway, right? Here's what I don't want to do today on the podcast. I want to just talk to you like we're in the office. I don't want to be polished. I want to just have a chit chat real quick about making decisions and how you can be sure when you're not sure. You got some big decisions to make in your business. And I don't want to say big putting pressure on you, but it's big because it's important. It's important that those decisions get made. So for those of you that are changing things up a bit in your business, it's important that you make a decision on what those changes are going to be. Maybe you can see what's getting the most results and realize, okay, I can just kind of kill this particular service because most people are wanting these things. And you know exactly what those are. So if you've got like 10 things on your virtual menu for services for clients, but people are really just focused on 4 of them, then why are you even offering the other 6? Take them off the listing. If somebody who you're working with and you're providing the 4 services or maybe 2 of the 4, whatever, and they want something that you used to offer, well, you got it in your back pocket. You can just pull it out for them when they request it or when you see fit to let them know that's available. That's just an example of a decision that needs to be made and updating your website, updating wherever it says that you offer these services, making that a priority. Now let's talk about how you can be sure that's even the right move for you. Maybe you're sitting on a logo. You've got to make choices about your logo. Maybe you got to make choices about colors. And I'll be honest, for me, these are not things that I really get into, logos and colors and stuff like that. What's most important to me is how I serve my clients. But for you, that may be a big deal. You may be like, okay, I got 3 logos I got to choose from. What am I going to do? Here's why it's not such a big deal to me. It's because it's not going to be on every single thing. It's not like I have a purse line or a clothing line or a jewelry line, something that's going to be visible to every single customer that comes through the door. My service clients may not even know I even have a website, much less a logo or brand colors or anything like that. It's more important for me to hone in on the experience that they have with me as opposed to what color they see when they go to the website. You may be totally different. That's just my thought and opinion on that for virtual assistant businesses. So how can you be okay in your decision? Oh, I just gave away the tip. Tip number 1 is to be okay. Be okay with the outcome. Okay. So when you're choosing your logo or your colors or your service offerings, you're, changing things up. Be okay regardless of what happens. Be okay with the outcome. So let's use the logo as an example. And I think over the course of 11 years, I probably had about 3 or 4 different logos and colors to boot because I wasn't feeling connected to one particular one. But I had to make a decision. I had to get things moving along because I know things can change. And maybe that should be the tip. I don't even have that tip on my paper, but let's make that number 1. Things can change. So if you make a decision, it can change. Not right away. It can change down the road. Live with it some and then know it can change. So maybe that's number 2. It can change. The first one is that it can change. I'm adding on to the 3 I already have. Number 1, know that whatever your decision is, it can be changed. And number two, just live with it for a little bit to give yourself some time for it to sink in. Sometimes we make a decision and we think, oh, I'm going to go ahead and change it. But you haven't sat with it long enough for it to really marinate and see if this is a good fit for you, for your presence, for your business, whatever the case may be. So, number three, which was my number one, but now it's number three. Be okay, whether you're right or wrong, satisfied or just okay. It's like if we go to dinner and you've never been to this restaurant and we're hanging out at the restaurant and you have no idea. You've never been there before. I haven't been there before. But we got to make decisions on what we're going to eat. So we might ask the waiter. We may have done a search on Google to see about what their rating was before we got to the restaurant. Maybe everybody's been raving about it and this is why we're at the restaurant. However, nobody told us about a particular dish they really liked at the restaurant. So we may have to do number 4, research. Sitting at the table, we might have to do a quick Google search, a little Facebook search to see what dishes that people like when they came to the restaurant. We may ask the waiter, what's their favorite? And a lot of times they don't have a favorite. They're just going to give you the rundown of the specials and let you know maybe they have 3 favorites. So that's a start that helps narrow it down, but we still have to make a decision. And we don't have all night because the restaurant closes at a certain time, which leads us to number 5. Give yourself a deadline. You've got to decide. If you know you've been looking at something for the last 6 months and you still have not decided, and you said, you know what, I'm going to make a decision before the new year, and you didn't. That thing, I'm going to give you permission to turn off the podcast and go make the decision. Or while you're still listening to me on the podcast, go ahead and pull out something to write on. Or if you're driving, make a mental note of what your decision is going to be. What have you been leaning towards the most over the last 6 months? Go with that one. And then refer back to the things the tips I'm giving you on how to be sure when you're not sure. Go with what you've been leaning towards for the last 6 months. And know, number 1, it can change. Number 2, after you've decided, let yourself just kind of sit in the decision. Go through it. See what it looks like, experience it, give yourself a deadline in that. Experience it for 60 days, 90 days. Is it still good? If not, go back to 1 and change. Number 3, be okay with the result of your decision. If it's a complete flop, be okay that it was a flop. You know, there are a lot of successful people out there that have had many, many flops, and no one even knows about them. Why? Because it's a flop. Because nobody knows about it, or nobody acted on it, or people forgot about it, right? Number 4, and that, let me see. I'm trying to do like 3 and then my thumb. Oh, this is funny. I got to try that after I finish recording. Anyway, number 4, research. This is where you're going to do a little research to find out, maybe find out what different colors mean. Look at, I hesitate on saying look at industry standards, because your experience, the industry standards don't speak to your experience, your knowledge. It's easier when we're looking up colors and logos and things like that. But as far as your rates, go with what you've been leaning with for the last 6 months. Number 5, a deadline. Give yourself a deadline. If it's something you've just started to play with today, depending on how big the decision is, big meaning the greatest impact, then give yourself a deadline based on what impact it's going to make. And I can't tell you what the impact level is for you and your business. I know if it was related to money making, I'm going to make a decision quicker, because the quicker I get something out, or put it out there like services, the quicker I can see if people will respond to it. And then I can come back and tweak it as I need to. If it's a situation where somebody else is waiting on you, their hands are tied. Maybe it's the graphic designer working with your logo. Their hands are tied until you make a decision. You're going to just keep them waiting for months and months and months? No. Make a decision while they're still in the flow of creating for you and your logo. Don't let too much time go by, because for them on their end, it's maybe like starting all over again and even having to remember who you are. So I've given you 5 tips. I came on in mind with 3, added 2 more. You have a total of 5 tips to get you through and making a decision when you want to be sure, but you're not sure. I hope that helps, and I would love to see your comments. If you have any questions, go ahead. If you have any questions, go ahead and put that below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening anywhere else, you can send me a message on Facebook, or I prefer you just ask your question directly on the Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/TBBA. That stands for the Business of Being a Virtual Assistant. And if you're not a part of our 30 days of reading, I don't know why not. I'm going to put the event link in our description section, and you'll have it there. Make sure you go to the 30 days of reading. We're reading Successful Women Think Differently. We got 2 more weeks to go on the book. All the replays are on the Facebook page if you have not been able to catch up with that. And an idea crossed my mind that I have to make a decision about in regards to that. 2 things. The first, are we going to continue to do it? And if we're going to continue to do it, what's the next book? And the second thing, it crossed my mind to have a whole special series as part of the podcast where I upload the replays to the podcast. So you guys let me know what you think about that. I definitely feel like we're going to continue. It's just a matter of deciding what our next book is. But for those of you that listen to the audios on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you like to listen to your podcast, let me know if you would like for those replays to be uploaded to the podcast. And if I did upload them, it would be after the fact, like after the 30 days is over, and then I would space it out, adding, a new, the new week every week, so you're not getting them all at once. So anyway, let me know. I look forward to hearing from everybody. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. Today was like a cash episode, because I also showed you that I can be really silly. Can you guys do that? Can you do the 3 fingers and the thumb? That is wild. I can't do on this hand either. So anyway, y'all have a wonderful and fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.